So I normally start with a sketch, but in this case I'm not going to because I want to do the whole process from beginning to end. And I'm going to be doing a wash on this paper. This is a watercolor sketchbook that I've been working in off and on for a while. It's been on display at a convention. That's the sticker stating that it's not for sale. And I'm not going to rotate it around, but just you can see I've done some watercolor work in this over the years. And today I'm going to be doing the prompt that I have for today, which is a silverfish earwig hybrid fighting a magical battle in a storm. And yeah, my first instinct for that is to go, who wrote these prompts? And then I remember, oh yeah, that was me. So I'm the only one I can blame for this particular one. And trying to watercolor magic is a whole thing. But aside from that, and what I'm doing right now is I'm getting ready to do some resist. So I have this drawing gum that is colored blue, so I can see where it is, because if you have clear on watercolor paper, it kind of vanishes. And yeah, the problem with drawing a silverfish earwig hybrid is that they're actually fairly close in appearance to one another as it is. So the problem becomes that you have this I'm like, how do I do the differences between the two of them, since it's mostly in the hindquarters, and my inclination usually to hybridize things is to do the front end one creature and the back end another creature. With this one, I can make the front end look like either an earwig or a silverfish, because the fronts are pretty much the same, and the back end is where the differences are on those two. So that becomes the issue of what am I doing here even. And so what I've just done is done a little bit of resist for what's going to be kind of a magical effect. And I don't know how well it's going to show up on the video, so hopefully it won't be too difficult to make out. And I think I might actually do a couple of spots that are going to be highlights later on. We'll see how that works out. But just kind of like where the bug's eyes are gonna be, and then just like maybe some glowing stuff going on for the thorax, and of course for the tail on this is gonna be the tricky part. So I think what I might conceive of is that a silverfish has a 3-part tail, and an earwig has a 2-part pincher. But you can do like a grappling hook kind of 3-part pincher. It's physically capable, so why not? We'll do a 3-part pincher on the back of this to be the earwig silverfish hybrid part of a thing. Hello, Toast. Are you going to come and drink out of my paint water? If you're going to do it, now is the time to do it, because I have not yet put any paint in there. Are you going to drink out of it? Yes, you are, because you are a little stinker. Oh, no, just like you're going to taste it. That's all you're going to do. The drawing gum, the resist, stinks, and she finds it attractive. I do not. It smells fishy, which is why she's now trying to lick the resist. And she's going to drink out of the paint water. So I'm going to pause on the painting for a few minutes until Toast has satisfied herself with the paint water. We do this every time. I fight with her so that she doesn't drink out of my paints. Once I get these wet, she will come and lick the paints, and I don't want her to do that because I think these are non-toxic, but I'm not 100% sure, and I'm not going to risk her with that. So yeah, she's a little monster. Kind of like my little silverfish earwig is going to be, and we will come back to this when Toast has decided that she's done. Okay, Toast has been removed from the studio, which probably won't stop her for long, but there's a cat flap in the door from when this used to be my son's bedroom, and there's only so much I can do. One of the downsides of the Scansy Tambi palette that I'm using today is that it doesn't have a gray. So what I'm going to do is mix something that I think will be kind of stormy weather, and I have this lovely brush that actually hasn't been used yet. This is a first for it. So I'm just going to load this up with what is labeled indigo in this palette, and loading it's going to be a problem because, again, it's a really big brush. So, but I'm going to go ahead and transfer that here because I don't actually want this to be very opaque, and the Japanese watercolors are very opaque. So I want this to be a nice translucent wash. So I'm going to get it nice and thinned out here. And I'm going to pick up some of this brown that was already here and scoot that over into and add that to the indigo to bring it a little bit about more towards the grayish that I want. And I'm probably going to pick up a little bit of what's called scorched tea. Oh, there we go. Now I'm getting somewhere where I can get stormy weather colors into it. You can see I'm already starting to spatter some on the paper. I'm being very messy. This is going to be a very loose painting. When I'm doing videos, I try not to make these terribly long. So in this particular case, I am going to be painting multiple layers and pausing the video in between each one. But first layer here, you can see what I'm doing, which is I'm just loading the paper down with paint, with pigment, and you can see that resist working, and because it's just going to push the paint back off of it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now what I want to do here is just dab a little bit of extra darkness into my magic area here, where I'm going to have some glow later on. And then I'm going to, I've already pre-crumpled this paper towel so that I can lift some of the pigment off of the paper, because I want there to be some texture to the clouds. And when this dries, you'll see I haven't lifted all the pigment. I've lifted some of it. So when I come back and this has dried, because this paper, I tried to get this to get fastened down like you would have with a watercolor block, and didn't want to do that. The washi tape is just not sticky enough. So it's popping up for me. I should probably grab a couple of clips because I'm going to have pooling of pigment at the sides. Again, this is a loose painting. I don't want to fuss over it that much. I need to not get caught up in the, it has to be perfect. I mean, toast, we'll lick it. So I'm going to go ahead and let this dry, and we'll come back in a minute. Back again. So this is dried, and now I've got my stormy backdrop that I can draw my earwig / silverfish over. And so I don't have a sketch or anything. I am just going to, okay, first of all, I'm going to fuss with trying to pick out which paintbrush I want, because I don't know, I'm a little picky about these things. And I've got a bunch of random ones over here. Maybe this one. And definitely gonna want this one for details later. Yeah, a couple of rounds, so a couple of different sizes of rounds there for painting with. And we'll start out with the largest one, of course. We'll just kind of work in towards details. So silverfish obviously are kind of a silvery looking thing. They're a bit paler. Earwigs tend to be They have a little bit more brown to them. They're a little bit more, their platen in particular here tends to be a little bit more brownish. So I'm just going to do that a little bit, and then that's going to be really dark. I should have thinned that out some. So you know what, we're just going to go back to my handy dandy crumpled up paper and lift some of that, and then just kind of blend it back in where I want it. This is what I get for diving back into it, getting all excited, not thinking about that. But it is what it is. I'll put that over there. A brush rest. So I just kind of want to mix up some kind of dark brown here. I'm going to incorporate a little bit of this blue that was already on the palette, just a touch. Actually, I think I want more than a touch. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more and bring that in. And that gets that really nice dark gray. So we're also echoing some of the color that was previously happening in the storm clouds. And to forgive me, I'm still learning the whole let's talk and paint at the same time, or do whatever it is that I'm going to do. The other thing about earwigs and silverfish is that they have some delineation between their segments, but not a lot. So I may come back later and do that with a little bit of a dry brush or some ink. I'm just doing, like I said, I am doing just super loose, super basic stuff here because I don't have the time or the patience to really make this into like technically accurate, but it's a hybrid fantasy creature with magic, so technical accuracy really isn't what I'm trying to do here. Really not. And yeah, just like I say many times about my daily art, all I'm trying to do with this is just a day in and day out practice of making art. So it's not about trying to make it good or anything other than just really I'm sitting down every day and I'm doing this. And today was important to me because, well, first of all, today is a really difficult anniversary for me. It's January 27th, and January 27th is just, it's a hard day. It is nothing I can do about it. It just is what it is. And every year I have to kind of dwell in that for a little bit, but will not let it take me over. And I've already had a couple of days recently where I missed doing my daily art because I was super busy and there was stuff going on and there was work that just had to get done. And so I didn't want to have another day where I didn't do my art. And it was like, okay, I don't feel like doing this. I don't want to do this. I want to just kind of little bit of oh poor me and just not to kind of just have this day be a sad day. And I did, that's not the right thing for me to do. I want this day to be productive. I want to be able to lie down on my bed at the end of it and be like, okay, I got done what needed to be done. I never check off all of my to-do list. That just isn't going to be a thing. But today I wanted to be able to go, okay, I did the basics of what needed to be done. I am satisfied that I gave it my best. And the thing is that I've kind of made this mental commitment to myself, and it's like there's nobody else. I have a bit of accountability in that I do post in my Discord when I do my art, and the gang there cheers me on, but it's not part of what they do or that I need them to do for them to hold me accountable. it is just what it is of, this is the thing that I want to do. I'm holding myself accountable because every day I can do a little bit better. I can practice my skills, which is what this is about, and I can get better. I can make my art a little bit better, pick up things that are different. I mean, right now what I'm doing is I'm actually mixing a silver and like an aqua. So you're going to get a little bit of a shimmer in there. And this, I'm going to use this for the magical effect of whatever this magical battle is that's going on here. So I'm just going to like really loosely, and I'm going to get the color to be here, and then I'm going to hit it with some water to really blow it out into the surrounding paint and just make it travel. Because why not? I want it to be blended and even in a radius of what light would do. And that's going to add some shimmer to the finished, because I put that silver in there, so it's got these little mica flecks in, and I don't know, you're probably not going to be able to see that. I really don't think, I'm above the light, you're definitely not going to see that. So regardless, what I'm doing is just kind of laying in some color and that shimmer. And then later on, when I come back and I take this resist off, when it's completely dry, then I will be able to do a brighter shock wave of magic coming out from my little guy here. So I'm going to go ahead and clean off this brush and park it back, because I think I'm done with that. What I want to do now is I'm looking at this end of my little guy is no longer shiny, which tells me that this is dry enough I can paint over here. Now, the legs on your silverfish and your earwig are kind of up in this area. So I'm looking at this and I'm going to be like, okay, I want a leg here and a leg here, and then a leg like up here holding the magic effect, and we're going to have jaws and antenna that will be like the last thing, because they'll go over everything. So I'm going to actually come back here and go ahead and take the resist off and paint these pinchers. And for this, I wanted a nice small round so I can get pretty detailed. And I'm also going to use a little bit thicker application of paints. I don't want quite the translucency here. So I'm mixing up a little bit of brown, because I'm staying fairly close to the natural colors of this insect, of an earwig. And I've just added in this deep maroon red to that as well, so that I can come in here and I can draw these pinchers. And I mean, think like crab pinchers, because really that is pretty close to that. So I want to kind of give that shape, that texture as far as the chitin of the exoskeleton. And with the paints, if I have a nice thick layer of paint here, I can actually go ahead and even create more of that like toothed look that you would get at the end of like a crab. This is kind of that grasping thing. And I'm not going to do that to this one, because on this one, the teeth would be forcing into that grappling kind of arrangement that I was talking about designing for this particular little bug. I'm just going to bring this down and darken up the inside of that. So now we have that arrangement on the tail as far as the silverfish earwig kind of combo of clasping inward. And We're starting to get a little bit drier over here. You might be able to see some of that shimmer that I did for the magical effect. And I think I want to kind of do just like some vegetation down here, just because it gives me something to do while we're waiting. And I'm going to mix this because I don't want it to be just like a pure green. This is very dark, so we want some nice dark colors, a little bit of brown in there just to kind of dull that down. And then I can come in and just do some quick grass blades, a little bit of vegetation coming on down here in the dark. And as I come over here towards the magic effect, which would be a light effect or a fire kind of thing, I'll come back and do a little bit of the color that I used for the magic and make it so it's reflecting off the blades of grass and vegetation that we've got going on down here. And again, really loose, really sloppy. This is storytelling. This is not about technical perfection. I want to convey feeling. I want to convey a little bit of the essence of what's going on within just a few minutes of painting, not trying to come in here and do a creation of all the details. No time, no patience, just wanting to get this done because it's doing my daily discipline. And I'm probably repeating myself. I'm sorry. I am trying to do this and think and talk at the same time. Toast has not come back in to drink more water, thankfully, because I really don't want her to drink paint water. It's not good for her once it's got paint in it, and I really try to keep her out of it. I mean, I've thought a few times, it's like, if she were a child, I would not let her do some of the things that she does, but she's not a child, she's a cat. And so while I try to get her to cooperate, she's a cat. I can't exactly like teach her things. I mean, what what am I going to do? And you can't get angry at her. And it's not that she's thirsty. She has cat waters, and we have lots of availability for her to have water, and she just likes to get into whatever I am using at that time, which is kind of a pain, but it is what it is, and I'm used to it at this point. So I'm like, we're just gonna wait until she's done, and then I'm not gonna fully realize this leg because it's going behind this magical effect. The same with the chelicera, there we go. We're getting, just see how we've got just that little bit of a thing going there. And let's see here. I think I'll pick a little bit more of this and blend it into there because I want to do antenna. And again, with the antenna, the idea here is to come up and across this. Oh, well, that's going to be fun. I forgot it was wet up there. Oops. So the antenna will be a little different, a little wonky. I'll just do that same bit shape. That's not how their antenna are shaped. They don't actually have like bulbs. But then it kind of almost looks like he's shaping it with his antenna and his jaw and the foreleg there. And I can come in here and I can kind of give some definition to the segmentation, which is what I was talking about before. Now this is going to look quite dark when I'm first doing this here. When it dries, it will, I assure you, kind of sink into the paint that's already there, because this paint's not actually that dry right now. I mean, I'm painting over it and it's not like bleeding out, but that doesn't mean that it's actually dry. It is still quite damp in the paper, and it is going to sink into the paint that's already there. So it's one of those things where I can be fairly confident that this may look dark. It's not really. And I know what it's going to look like when I get it to a point where it's dry. Yeah. So he's kind of fun looking, creepy. That was kind of the idea, right? So let's see here, a little bit of emphasis on this guy for the claw teeth things. Darken those up so that they'll stand out when it's done. And bring that down there. A little bit of shadowing, sort of. Maybe. I don't know. We'll shadow that whole back end there. So yeah, okay, he's starting to look very buggy. Yeah, not sure what I'm doing up there with those antennae. I might try lifting that with the paper towel. A little bit of a damp bit of paper towel. Pick up some of that. You can't quite erase watercolor, but you can get close depending on what else is going on. Because you can do this, and then you could come in with the paper towel again and lift that, and that's as close to an erasure as I'm going to get with watercolor. It's actually works pretty well. Let's see here. I think I want just a little bit more of this. Because I don't have it on top of things now. I have painted what I had already spattered, so then we'll get some more raindrops going on, and of course that does the whole desk as well. All right, so I am going to take a pause and let this dry, and we will come back to it. All right, this should be finishing it up at this point. Should be fairly dry. I'm going to go ahead and remove the resist from the exoskeleton here. And you'll notice that this is a really bright white because we're going all the way back down to the paper. And that is too bright of a white. I don't want it to stay that bright. So we're going to actually paint over those spots now. And I think I just want to very dilute kind of the colors that I've been going with all along. So we just want those to be paler than the surrounding area, but not like bright white. So just put a very little bit of a wash over it. And maybe with this we'll leave it so that there's some highlight on the eye. That's really about it. Bring down a little bit of shadowing down here. And now the question becomes, what do I want to do to imply the magic here? I want to go ahead and remove the resist, which is going to do interesting things to the antenna, and probably also to you guys, because I just realized that this is making the whole table bounce and move. I'm sorry. There we go. I think that might be it. Really does come off best if you just rub it with your finger. But I put it on really lightly. I didn't put on like a big gunky layer, so I'm trying to make sure that I've got it all off. And it's interesting because the shiny paint that I used there feels a little bit slick. That's an interesting feeling. So I could, I guess, just leave it white, but that feels wrong. I feel like I need this to be something brighter here. And so I'm thinking that what I might do is come back to this opaque aqua and not use that, but the one that's right below it, which is, oh gosh, they call this a pale blue-green. I don't read Japanese, so, but I'm now going to mix this with the remaining aqua and silver that I have, And then we are going to dilute this out a little bit, so I've got a little bit more of a pale wash, and go ahead and do this for the magic effects. And yeah, I think that'll work nicely. It's got a brighter blue against the storm clouds that I had done before, and so that gives it a really interesting effect of, and I'm going to actually come back in with this and lift away the edges so that the edges are a little bit more dilute. So wash that out into the clouds at the edges. But yeah, I think that works. We have our silverfish earwig hybrid creature with a magical effect here that's kind of resonating outward from him. And it isn't, I mean, it's not a bright colored picture. It's one of those things where I can drop in a little bit of color and then spray it and make it go a little bit further. That would probably be fun. So let's see what happens if we do this. And then I spray in that direction. If I can get it to pump up and spray. Come on. That's the problem with this bottle. It does not spray reliably on demand. And I filled it, so that's why it's not one to... Arg. Of course, when I want something to work, it doesn't want to work. Let's do this differently. And picking up some more of that blue, coming in and doing this. And then we're just going to do a very concentrated right in this area of spatters. Yeah, that actually works. Of course, again, I have spatters everywhere. I don't know, I like spatter. I do way too much of it probably, but it's fun. So when that dries, we should have an interesting effect there of the magic for this. And I mean, I could go back over this and I could do more details and I could add a whole lot more to it, because there's certain things, I mean, you're gonna see me start messing with it now because I'm already looking at it going, you know, I should really, but I'm also, this video is gonna be really long as it is. So I don't know that you really wanna see me obsess over the details on this to the point where I am inclined to do. I need to not do that. So I will call it done and I will capture an image when it's completely dry for the video at the end. And yeah, so it's late. I'm tired. I have really enjoyed doing this with you all, and I'm glad that I pushed myself past my reluctance, and I was like, all right, I have to do my art and I might as well do a video while I'm doing it, even if it's not great. It's done. And that really is the takeaway for today, is it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be done. Good night, y'all.